Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 348 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
Hey, pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
what?
How's your week been?
It's always like a really difficult adjustment period to kind of like get back into the groove of like routine and work and after being out for a bit, and so it's just been like
post Disney high is real for sure.
Yeah, we're down. Yeah. It's really down, right? The post Disney, it's
Disney blues is what I've heard it called. Yeah,
yes, yeah. I think that's a real thing. And then of course you start looking at like, well, we could go on another cruise this year if we really wanted to. I mean, like we could go to the parks because now we're like kind of, especially with all the park stuff we've been talking about. It's like my daughter's been kind of like, so when are we gonna go again? And I'm like, I don't know, sometime soon. I mean, we don't really have a plan, but I mean, we want to schedule something.
To be honest, considering the timeline of when everything is opening up, this isn't like a drop everything and go in 2 weeks or even a month. Like I personally think, based on everything that we're seeing, and we're going to talk about a bunch of this today, by the way, because there has been a bunch more announcements that have come out. I'm of the opinion if I was to go, I would leave it until the fall because, it kind of like, I know there's the whole like, getting there like right as these things open up and that's great. Like I've done that too. And that's awesome. But I'm of the opinion, kind of let summer go by and let people like let all the hype. Yeah. The heat and the hype goes away. Yeah. Exactly. And then, you can get into like September, October and you can go and enjoy it and, find those windows where it's not quite as busy. And then you can go enjoy the new stuff even more that would be my take on it. And so
that'd be ideal. Yeah.
Yeah. That's me saying to you, hey, remember when I said, plan around your daughter's like PD days and stuff, like, start looking at your fall calendar and it happens.
We got a letter cause she's had, 3 unexcused absences now, and they send a letter after 3 unexcused absences, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
Oh, you don't get a phone call home every day?
Oh, we do. So we get like an automated call, but like there's a thing like you can fill, like there's an online form you fill out right when they're absent, and to say why they're absent. And so we did all that, but we still got a little letter home being like, you've been absent the past 3 times in the past, because I think we took her out one day to go down to Florida for Thanksgiving. But again, it was like the day before Thanksgiving break and the day before spring break, or 2 days before spring break. It's like, come on. Like, you weren't doing anything anyway. You're probably watching a video, like.
Yeah, I know. Like I'll be honest. Like this is, we kind of go through the same thing. Like they don't send a letter home, but they have a policy that like after so many unexcused absences, they can, or in my son's case, this is high school, and they'll be like, if you miss a class so many times, we can remove you from the class, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so it's
I get that. Yeah.
So I get, every school has their own rules and everything, but when it comes to the vacation thing, like this has always been a touching point. I didn't think we were going to talk about this today, but I think we should just get into it because why not? I get the school is like, they're trying to make sure that the kids are, that they're there and, that they're getting the curriculum done and everything. But it's like, if a parent chooses to pull their kid out of school, that's their prerogative. But then the other side of that is the onus is on them to ensure that their kid does what they need to do to catch up or, miss anything. Right. And that's always been a thing for us too, is like, when my son has missed school due to trips and stuff like that, we have, we've put it on him like, hey, you got to get the extra material. You got to, catch up, write tests, do whatever needs to be done that you missed. And, he goes back to the teacher and is like, hey, can I do whatever I need to do to fill in for this? the other side of like the whole, you have unexcused absences. It's like, I feel like that's the school overreaching a little bit because it's like, my opinion is, you're in charge of your family and your kids, and, everybody chooses to do vacations whenever they choose to do vacations. It shouldn't come at the penalty of, the school wagging their finger at you, right? Like they're not, sorry, but it's, I don't know. It's such a weird backwards thing to like, for like the schools to like go after the parents for it. But I also get there are some parents too that will like, unfortunately, this is a result also of, I don't dismiss the fact that there are parents that like, well, I took vacation, but why didn't you make sure that my, little Billy got caught up? And it's like, that's the other side. That's not the school's problem, right? So it's, I get it, but also like the, sending home letters like warning of unattended absences and stuff. It's like, okay, if I know why my kid was away, like, and especially like, because, you fill out the form and you're like, I justified why they're away. It's like, now it's none of your business. Like if I didn't know that my kid was away and they were coming to me and being like, hey, there's a bunch of unexcused absences. It's like, wait, hold up. We have a problem, right?
Wait, what's going on there? Yeah.
Yeah. But this is like, no, I know what happened. Like, mind your own business. Right.
Yeah. It was just like, hey, try to like, keep, it wasn't like any like threatening thing. I think they only like really do anything if it's like 10 or more or something like that in a certain amount of time, and we're nowhere near that. So listen, I don't have a problem, but she's in second grade too. She didn't miss like,
that's the other thing too, is like, I get like, I was the same way up until about grade 6 with my son. I was like, whatever with it. Once he got into junior high and beyond, it was like, okay, like, we have to, he can't like this is getting into a harder curriculum. He can't really miss as much school as he did previously. So, we didn't, or, we tried to, we tried to minimize that. But then the funny thing is we're on the flip side of it now where, he's in grade 12 and he's hit a point where he's got like 2 classes left and most of his credits done. Cause the way we do high school graduation is you have to get so many credits and do certain courses and then you graduate. Right. And so, so he's down to where he has a couple of classes left, but he's managing it. But then every once in a while he'll say to us like, hey, I don't want to go to class today. Is that, or like, he'll actually reach out to us and be like, I'm not going to class today. And we're like, yeah, that's fine. So then we get the phone call and it's like, okay, whatever. Like, what are you going to do? Kick him out next semester? Oh, wait, like he's
done. He's done. Yeah.
So like, you have to kind of pick and choose your battles with it too, right? So
yeah. I don't. It didn't bother me. I just thought it was kind of funny, Yeah,
no, I get it, and without context, it seems very like getting. Or I guess, because like you said, you filled out the thing saying that your daughter was going to be gone, right? Or that you...
Yeah, it's just they only accept it if it's like a doctor's appointment or they're sick, Like
oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, guys, come on.
Come on, chill.
Like,
I took my daughter on vacation. She's going to remember that.
Yeah, if the parent excused it, it's none of your business.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you, but it is what it is. But I just thought it was funny.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to get into it though? Because
let's talk some announcements.
I feel like I need to start off. We have to start off with all the rock and roller coaster stuff because
oh my goodness, yes,
there's so much. Which I really love the way that they're rolling this out. They're doing it in such a fun Muppety way, and like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not like most rides you get, you just get little bits and pieces. They're doing so many fun things with this. And I actually think we predicted this, Trevor, that the Electric Mayhem would be doing a bunch of covers of songs. I think we hoped that they were going to do that when they first announced this, and that is what's going to be happening. So, I mean, which it makes the most sense. But there's so much to kind of unpack here because they just released a whole bunch of different stuff. So
why don't we just start with the set list? Because like we said, we talked about they are doing songs. And so we have 5 songs confirmed on the set list.
Yes.
And I'll just go down the list here. So we have song 2, and it says the Electric Mayhem song 2, but it's song 2 by Blur, but they're doing a cover of it, which is awesome.
If you don't know that song, it's the woohoo, that song. That's song.
and I said this on the Discord because I said like, oh my gosh, song 2 by Blur, and I think it was Dan said like, I don't think I know that song, and I'm like, if you were alive in the 90s, you know that song. You may not know what it was called, but you know that song. And
everybody knows that song, even if you weren't in the 90s. Like everyone knows that song.
It's been around for forever, right? And and the thing about so like that was like their lead in, like the first song. I was like, okay, like we're starting off strong.
Starting off strong here.
I said it to my brother, and he was like, okay, Animal needs to be singing the song. Like even though Animal's the drummer, like it just fits that it would be like him doing the cover, right? So I hope that's how it plays out, but again, we don't know for sure.
There's not really like lyrics to that song other than like woohoo. There's a couple but like not it's not significant lyrics. Everyone cares about the chorus.
I mean it's hard to understand what the lead singer is saying. He's British and he has an accent and
of course.
But he is singing through the song, but it could very easily be translated to, like you said, like animal gibberish through the song. And then also thinking about Rock and Roller Coaster as a ride, like I see how it fits. Like when I think about the amount of times that I've ridden Rock and Roller Coaster and just the pacing of the ride, easy win for that one. The next song on the list is Born to be Wild, the Electric Mayhem featuring Camilla the Chicken.
Which is hilarious. And if you don't know who Camilla, I mean, everyone, Camilla the Chicken is in so many of the songs and like the bits that they do. Like it's
Gonzo's.
The chickens are always around.
I feel like it's like almost. Is it his girlfriend? I don't know if Camilla's
is it? No, I don't think so.
I thought because he's always like hanging out with the chickens, and I thought like I don't know. It seemed like he was always he was always like into Camilla is how I saw it, but maybe I was misreading. But
it is. It is his girlfriend. Yes.
Yeah. There you go. So so Gonzo's girlfriend is
Camilla the Chicken is a hen who is Gonzo's longtime girlfriend. That's right.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, again, great song. It fits the theme of the ride. The thing is that these songs, like, you look back at like the Aerosmith songs that were in the ride, and it's like, these are still kind of fitting in that same line, but the thing is they like the time or how can I explain this? The amount of like the eras that these songs are coming from are like huge. Like it's a very wide breadth of like, we've got songs from the 90s and like 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, I feel like is kind of the breadth of where these songs are. But the nice thing about it is that they're like, that means like they can go anywhere with this. And, we said this, I think previously is, they could pick any songs in the future. But like I said, so far Born to be Wild. Then the next song is Love Roller Coaster by the Electric Mayhem featuring Jennifer Hudson and Questlove.
Questlove. What a great... That's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be really, really good. I feel like that's such a great song for them to do. It's also just a great song in general. And I'm just really looking forward to hearing that cover of it. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yep. And then the next one is Rock Till You Drop, the Electric Mayhem featuring Def Leppard, which is so weird to think about, is that like Electric Mayhem is covering a Def Leppard song, but Def Leppard is
with Def Leppard.
Yeah. Fits, totally easy to envision on the ride. And then the very last song is Walking on Sunshine, Electric Mayhem featuring Kelly Clarkson,
which is that's pretty big.
That's huge.
She's perfect for that song, by the way. Her voice is perfect for that, and that's going to be a great song for them to do.
Yes, absolutely. And so here's the interesting thing about this. Like, when I think about Cosmic Rewind, I have a tier list of like these are the songs that I really don't want to like. There's 6 songs. 2 of them I really don't want to hear. 2 of them I'm okay with. 2 of them I'm like, yes, I want to hear these songs. So like their selection of songs really like kind of forced it into a tier list. Looking at these songs, I'm like, if I heard any one of these, I'm like, yeah, cool. Like it's not, there's not any one song that I'm like, this is like, I have to hear this song. Like I would not be disappointed by any of these.
That's
right.
Great.
Yeah.
That's the way you want to be. Worth noting, by the way, that Kelly Clarkson covered "Walking on Sunshine" like 6 months ago on her show. So maybe that was a little preview of things to come.
Little teaser,
yeah, a little preview of things to come. But yeah, no, so I'm assuming you're going to get like similar to Cosmic Rewind. You'll get one song per ride, right? I'm assuming like it's going to be randomized. You'll get one of the songs each ride.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's any way they're doing multiples because the ride itself is only like 2 minutes long. So. You're not fitting in multiple songs.
1 minute 22 seconds is what I just saw on Wikipedia.
Okay, so yeah,
yeah,
feels like 2 minutes.
It feels long. But yeah, no, I think they did a great job with the songs that they picked, and you know they can add like you said, they can add whatever anytime. Like it's not you know, and like because they've changed up the songs at Cosmic Rewind. They did it for like the holidays, and you know they
September
can do the same
21st. They just run September on repeat.
Yeah, exactly. They can do that here too, where you know they could change it up if they really want to. So and I just love that they have the Electric Mayhem doing the covers of these things, because that just makes it so much more fun and, you know, so much more Muppety. I had to believe that they were going to do that. Like, and I think when they first announced this, they didn't say that, but I think we were hoping that they were going to do that. I think,
we kind of assumed it. And I mean, this goes as far back, like, you know, I mean, going back to like the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
They did covers then, but then also like on, like I've seen on YouTube, like various Muppet covers of songs that they've just done over time. And it's like, why would they not they could obviously just like get these people to come and do this stuff, but it's like you said, it's so much more fun to have it being, you know, it's very clearly the Electric Mayhem playing it, but then all these other people jumping in, like the Muppet Show. If you think about it, like this is the same way, like how they do guests on the Muppet Show, right? It's going to be awesome.
It's great. And by the way, they're keeping the same storyline for the ride. They're just replacing Aerosmith with the Electric Mayhem, basically. Right? Like, it's still like that going
to see the Electric Mayhem, and then you get backstage passes.
It's still G-Force Records. The band is, you know, they can't find the band. Like, it's the whole thing. So it's, which is, you know, fine. Like, I don't think they needed to change the storyline of it. They're doing enough changing here. So the one thing we didn't say from that, we were so excited about the music, we forgot to mention they already announced the reopening date, which is May 26th.
Yes. Yeah. That's coming real quick. Like we're a month out on that.
Yeah, they only just closed Rock and Roller Coaster, the beginning of March, I think. So this is a very quick turnaround on this. Now, given, I think most of us expect, I think the expectation was they're not changing any parts of the ride, so to speak, right? So like the ride itself is staying the same. It's really all the stuff around it that they're doing. So obviously they were prepared to do this quickly, and which is, as long as it's good and well done, I don't think people care if it's, you know, quick, but it is interesting that they're able to do this. You know, they really don't. Usually these reimaginings take like a lot longer than a few months. You know,
I feel like this to me strikes me as something that, and I know Disney hasn't really talked about this, but I'm kind of seeing it in the way they've been doing or planning these things, is that they're getting a lot better at doing things offsite or doing things like without having to close the ride down.
Yeah.
And like like
being more
feels,
prepared, like staging it ahead of time. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. What this feels like is that it's probably been in the works for a lot longer, but they were able to keep the ride open up to a point. And I think the closing of the ride, honestly, is like you said, like the ride itself is not changing, but I'm assuming, because inside of the actual ride there's signs and stuff that you see as you're going around on the roller coaster. I'm assuming, all that signage inside of the ride has changed. Obviously the pre-show has changed. They've added animatronics to the pre-show, all the posters and everything in the queue, like all that stuff has changed. But like you said, the fundamental, like the ride itself, the queue, everything else, like they haven't had to do like major sweeping changes to it. So it feels like, it was a lot easier for them to probably go like, oh yeah, we can like, build out signs, build out, animatronics and everything, and kind of have them waiting in the wings. Yeah. And then when we close it, you bring everything in and you just, you're just setting it up. Right. So
exactly. Yeah. And it certainly helps that they don't have to change the actual ride itself. Like that really cuts down on the time. They're really just, giving it a new coat of paint, so to speak, and changing the music and all that, obviously. But some of the other things, Trevor, though, they put out like these posters. Did you see these posters? These posters are so cool. I
saw a couple of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I love these posters. They're just really, really cool. They have for each member of the Electric Mayhem, they have their own poster. Animal has one that just says drums, drums, drums on it.
Yeah.
And there's some really funny things in here, but I just kind of love the whole aesthetic they're going for. The other thing that they announced is that there is going to be, it says, there's going to be a bunch of celebrity cameos woven throughout the experience. Now, I don't know what that actually means, but like, I don't know if it's just like, are these just like posters like going through the queue, or I don't know.
So I actually saw, specifically, I saw something from Weird Al Yankovic that he said he will be in the queue. And he said like, not like in the queue, but he said like there's like he'll be talking to you through like a video or something. So what I'm assuming is because throughout the ride throughout the queue there is posters and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the posters got some upgrades to them where instead of just being a static poster is
like moving.
Like people like if you stand there long enough, like people come in and do like a little bit and then move on kind of thing, right? So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed they didn't record a song with Weird Al, like because that would have been a lot of fun for them to do like a song with Weird Al. But so the celebrity cameos they list off here are Aquafina, Danny Trejo, which is a random one. But,
okay, no, hold on. You can't say random, like anything with Disney or with Muppets, like it's all fair game. You can't be like, that's random. Like Danny Trejo would absolutely be on the Muppets. Right?
I mean, you're not. And by the way, they're each pictured with different characters here. So Danny Trejo's with Kermit, Aquafina is with Beaker, and then there's Darren Criss who's with Ralph. And let's see who else we got. Stamos, of course, because Stamos. I like that. Stamos is with what's his name, Bobo,
which
is hilarious. But first of all, I'm annoyed at how good John Stamos looks. He has to be like in his 60s, right? Like I feel like he keeps getting better looking.
He's got that same Paul Rudd vampire gene or whatever it is. Like they just don't age. Yeah,
exactly. And but this list feels like a list of all of the well, not all, but a lot of like the super Disney fans that are within the orbit that are also celebrities, like the next one, which is Neil Patrick Harris, who's with Gonzo, which that's great too. We got Travis Barker yelling an animal. Which is I mean, that one feels random too, but whatever. Yvette Nicole Brown, who's with Miss Piggy and Kermit. And also with Miss Piggy and Kermit is Wayne Brady.
Again, it makes sense, but it's like he's another one that I like. I know he doesn't like do a lot of music, but like his improv music and stuff that he does, like.
He did a lot of singing on Whose Line Is It Anyway? He did a lot of that.
I've also seen him. I don't know if you ever watch Dropout. He's done a couple of. Okay, Dropout. Well, Dropout's a whole channel, but they do like they've got their own set of shows, and he does some crazy improv on there as well. So,
cool.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Weird Al, who's with Fozzie, as he should be.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah. They feel like they would be best friends. Absolutely.
Yes, they would. So, no, I think this is very cool that they're, throwing a bunch of celebrities into it. That's really neat. And then you talked about the animatronic, the audio animatronic of Scooter, who's, going to be there. And of course the Penguins, who, low key, the Penguins are some of my favorite Muppets. I love like some of the weird Muppets,
they're not like starring in a space, but they're like, you could always like see them doing like there's enough penguins that they're always like doing stuff in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I not to go back to my cruise, but for a second, there's I don't think I talked about this, and I'm not even sure if you're aware of this, but there is on the Disney Fantasy, Trevor, there's a replica of the cabin room doors, but it's very tiny, and the room number on it is 5148 and a half. And it's and it has a Pepe the Prawn crown on top of it, so it's Pepe's door on the ship. And there's also, though, like it's supposed to belong to Pepe the Prawn, right? But there's also like a whole bunch of like Muppet stuff on the door, but it's just, I forgot to mention it because it was one of those things that I actually didn't know about. And I just thought it was so cool because
I walked by and you're like, oh,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, it made me laugh really, and it was like, this is amazing, and it has Pepe's little activity schedule on it, and all sorts of fun. There's a Muppet mini golf team thing on it, and all this stuff, and it's just really funny. And I forgot to mention it because it was one of those things that is just so random, but also so funny. And you know how much I love Pepe. So anyway,
well, and to tie that back to Rock and Roller Coaster, like this is the level of stuff I expect to see in the queue. Is that like it's not that it'll be, and this is it's the best way to do it is. There's lots to look at. I'm sure that this queue is going to be like, when I walk through Rock and Roller Coaster, it's like, I looked at the posters enough times and it's like, oh yeah, there's things around, but there's not like details that you're hunting for. I feel like with Muppets, I'm assuming that there's going to be a ton of details and little things like that, references and, things that, even if it's a character that's not necessarily in the ride, maybe there will be a shout out to Pepe in the ride somewhere. Going back to, you were talking about how they didn't like fundamentally change the ride. I actually disagree with you. Based on one of these posts, because they did actually the ride vehicles themselves have been changed. They're formerly named lengthy immediate motion objects, and as per Bunsen and Beaker, the acronym for that obviously is limo. So
that's what they're called now. Yes,
they are called. Yeah.
I this is again why I love why they did how they did this, because they didn't really need to do that, but they did it.
No, they absolutely needed to do that. They couldn't just leave the old limos in there. They had to, they needed the scientists to look at it and make a new ride vehicle that is, Bunsen Honeydew obviously put some thought into it and, made sure that, the lengthy immediate motion object was the right fit for the ride.
Yeah, that's it. The lengthy immediate motion object. It's just hilarious. I love Muppet stuff, man. I said, I love so that. I love how they're doing this. They're just doing this in the way that's like the best Muppet way possible, and it makes me happy. I love it.
Yeah, I will admit, towards the end of the Aerosmith run of Rock and Roller Coaster, my son and I would go and ride the ride, but it was entirely like if we had nothing better to do, or we'd ride it once and be like, yeah, I'm good, right? Like I didn't need to go and ride it multiple times. Even though it's the same ride, the funny thing is, because of all these little things and because of the, just
songs,
the whimsy around, the songs, but then also the whimsy around, just it being Muppets. Like, I'm looking at this going like, I could see myself getting on this 2 or 3 times in a day. Like it's
Well, you were talking about all the details in the queue. One of my favorite parts of Muppet Vision 3D was that there were so many details in the queue and in like the pre-show area that like there was always something to look at and always new things that you'd find every time you went, to the point where I remember sometimes I would go and I'd be like, I don't remember that being there before. Was that always there? Like, like that feels like a new thing. And like, they can do that here too, where they have all those little Easter eggs and interesting little details and things like that. And I always used to love the Muppet Vision pre-show, because the videos they had up there were always really funny and just really entertaining while you were sitting there or standing there waiting.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully you're gonna get a lot of that hopefully here. So
yeah, I remember I think it happened a few times, like even with my son, but I remember there was it's always the part that always stuck out to me in the Muppets 3D queue was when I think it's Kermit is talking, and then Gonzo comes onto the screen and is like, oh, Mickey Mouse is here, and they all hype it all up, and then Rizzo comes out dressed as Mickey Mouse. Yeah,
that was the way they did that too.
Kids would always get so excited in the crowd. Like I would always like you would hear that like, and then Rizzo would come out, and everyone like, it was just so funny.
It was also just funny how it was on a bunch of different screens, like the way they made that work, where it was there was like, it wasn't one continuous screen. It was like a whole bunch of different screens next to each other. And then they'd have like one character on each screen at a time, but they were looking at each other. It was just funny the way that it was done.
It was the same way that they do like the, like on the Muppet Show, where like they would like, one person would poke out of a window and they'd be kind of like talking back and forth to each other through like different windows and stuff. Like it gave that kind of vibe.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was, and I hope they bring a lot of that to Rock and Roller Coaster. But I think they also put out too, I don't know if you watched the videos of the Muppets recruiting the band members for the songs.
I saw the Def Leppard one, and there was an audio recording of Jennifer Hudson. I don't know if there was the
Questlove one was pretty funny. No, I don't think there was.
I haven't
one
seen the Questlove one.
The Questlove one that one was pretty funny too, because Questlove just like seems like he's confused. There was no Kelly Clarkson one, but it's just like they didn't have to do those things, but they did, and it's just really funny, the way it's done. So I don't know. I just am glad that they are honoring the Muppets in the way that they are. So the last part of this, though, Trevor, is that while the ride is going to officially open on May 26th, DVC members and annual pass holders are going to get an early preview. We don't know the details of that yet. We just know that DVC is going to get a preview. So that's exciting. We'll get some more information on that though soon. But
I think we talked about this previously with like the Buzz Lightyear opening that. So I guess, because I think I'd said something to the effect of, they tend to reserve the DVC stuff for bigger openings. But I mean, really, this is not any different than the Buzz Lightyear redo. But the fact that we're getting a DVC preview, I have to wonder if it might be a matter of they can only do so many previews or like, because like I forget it. I sometimes forget about the fact that like we're like, oh, well, DVC is Disney. They should just be able to do previews for it. But I have to wonder if there is maybe some budgeting for preview time. Maybe. And I'm wondering if it's the DVC might have to pick and choose their battles around which ones they actually want to get previews for. Like they can't get every single preview. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting because it seems like, oh, well, they're the same company. Then why can't they do that? It is, but it's they still have to. Even in a big company, the way they have to do these things is is measured, right? So like DVC can't just do whatever they want in the parks. They're different divisions, and they still have to be able to. Because I mean, I think in the past we've that they have to like they got to pay for stuff. I mean, they have budgets around this stuff. So
like them doing events in the park, they do have to technically pay money to the parks to do it, and that comes out of like a DVC budget, or it's
like
moving money between buckets.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, but it's there's still budgets for these things, and because there's also opportunity costs for Disney, and so of letting DVC do things that other people can't do. So I mean, listen, I would expect that this is probably going to be a couple weeks ahead of time or a week or two before launch, and they'll probably do that. You're going to have to register for it for sure. So I would say just keep an eye out if you remember. And I also am going to assume this is going to be a blue card benefit. So they usually are. So
yeah, I don't think there's ever been a point where resale people have gotten
no.
Yeah, I was trying to think as I was saying, I'm like, has there actually been a point? No, yeah, there's not been a point where resale only members have gotten preview opportunities. So yeah, I guess if you're wondering why you never get invited to these things, if you only have resale points, that's why.
I'm going to tell you right now, though. I just to go back for a second. The merch that's going to come along with this new ride is going to be awesome. Like, I'm going to want a shirt from this. You know what I mean?
And like you said, I found I saw those posters you were talking about. Like, that
posters are cool.
Poster collection is awesome. I would assume that there'll be T-shirts with those posters. I hope there is at some point.
Yeah.
There'll be lots of good opportunities for merch with this, right?
Yeah, and in the one piece of concept art of the guitar, they do have a couple people wearing like some generalized merch, but I doubt that's what the actual merch is going to be.
I mean, like that Electric Mayhem jacket and stuff.
His denim Electric Mayhem jacket. It's not even like a jacket; it's like a vest.
It's like, it's like sleeves. A denim jacket with the sleeves cut off.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it looks also, somebody also has looks like a mouth on the back of their on their shirt. So I don't know if that's it's like lips, right? But which could just be, I mean, it could be the band member lips, or it could be something else. But and again, this is concept art, so it probably has nothing to do with like actual what is going to be in the shop. But the Electric Mayhem have a pretty cool logo as it is, and so now there's going to be there's going to be good stuff in that gift shop.
Yeah. So. Yeah. The funny thing is that, and I'm pretty sure I said this before, is that, coming off of Rock and Roller Coaster, I never stopped in the gift shop ever because I just, I don't.
That gift shop was sad.
It's not that like Aerosmith is okay, but but that's exactly it. That's like, I have no desire to stop and like look at Aerosmith merch or generic, like it was very generic looking like band merch. And like you said, it was a very skippable shop. Whereas now it'll be like, you'll get off the ride and I'll be interested to see what all stuff they have.
This merch is going to be popular. I'm going to say this right now. I think it's going to be very popular.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's or I hope that its stuff is rotating over time, because it feels like something that, the initial, hype of the ride, but then, over time they can, keep changing songs. They can add stuff in, and it's going to there's going to be so many opportunities to do just more merch for it's such a good IP if you really think about it. Like it's a very easy IP that you can make merch that is kid centric, but obviously like Muppets is very timeless at this point. So there'll be lots of stuff that will appeal to all age groups. Right. So
agreed. All right. Well, anything else about that before we move on here? I mean, I think this is exciting. I think the internet's excited about it, which means, people are going to be flocking back to Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, I'm just sad that I'll have to actually wait more than 10 minutes to get on the ride now. So,
yeah, that's true. You will.
I'll have to actually plan lightning lanes for it and stuff.
You will. Yeah, you will.
All right.
So we're only 4 months into 2026. So, I mean, which feels like, how are we 4 months into 2026? But whatever. But even though we're only 4 months into 2026, we're already getting confirmation that the free water park perk that for Disney hotel guests that has been, I don't know if it's been popular or not. I don't really know if people have been using this. I assume they have been, because it seems like they're happy with this because they're going to extend it for next year as well. So already they're announcing that. The interesting thing, though, Trevor, is that next year they are going to exclude guests who stay at the campsites at Fort Wilderness.
That's a choice.
Year they do not. Yeah, it's kind of odd, right? Why specifically that group of people?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess, you know what I think it probably is? Or this is my assumption. Staying at the campsites is, I'm pretty sure, one of the cheapest ways to stay on property.
That's true.
And I feel like it's like, I could very easily see making a vacation out of just going to, you know, Fort Wilderness. Like when I was a kid, like, you know, we would go camping out in British Columbia, and, you know, you would go to these campsites, and it was like, you didn't have to leave the campsite. Like you know, it was just like, go hang out at the pool, like, you know, explore the campsites, you know, do whatever. I could see people going, you know, hey, this is a great thing because you can, you know, go to the campsite, you know, just spend your time at the campsite and, you know, have a free water park day, which, and I get why Disney would actually be like, wait, no, I don't want you just spending time at the campsite and then getting free water park. I think the assumption is that, you know, the free water park day assumes that you're spending money at the other parks and, you know, doing other things, right? Like the thing about a camp, you know, going to the campsite is kind of like DVC. You can go there and bring all of your own food, and you don't have to interact with any like Disney dining or anything like that. Like you can plan to, you know, when you're camping, you can just, you know, you bring a cooler full of food and that's all you need. Right. So,
yeah.
So I see where they're probably looking and going like from a, you know, maybe you know, the benefit of the offer greatly outweighs justifying it for the campsite. That would be my assumption, because if I was close enough that I could actually make use of the campsite, I would be like thinking about like, hey, you know, I could just book, book a campsite for, you know, like 3 days or whatever, and we get a free water park day. And, you know, that's honestly a relatively cheap vacation if you have all the camping equipment, right? So, yeah, I can kind of see that why they would exclude the campsites.
It's just interesting that they just decided to do that now, you know. But it's whatever. I feel like,
you know, that this is the third year they've been doing this now, right? So I wonder if they have enough data points where they've kind of realized that maybe there was a subset of people that figured out this as a hack, as you know, hey, you know, go camping, you know, and just get a free water park day, and you don't have to do anything else at Disney, right? So
I get it. Yeah. Interesting. Well, yeah, so that's all we got for that. But I do think it's interesting that we know now early on here that they're continuing to do that. I would love to actually utilize this benefit. I just haven't, you know, because I still haven't been to any of the water parks. I want to go to the water parks, you know?
I keep forgetting that. I feel like you have been at some point, and it blows my mind that you've never actually been to the water parks.
I know, right?
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know. I mean, it just hasn't been a thing we've done because my wife doesn't really like water parks. So we just kind of.
They're just my wife, but I still made her go with me.
Well, it's also always been though too that we like the way that we do our trip is that we set it up so that the first day is like a full day. You know, like we come in early in the morning and we got a full day. Like, and I think, you know, a lot of the reason that they have that is like, so, you know, the people that arrive, you know, maybe midday or something like that, they can kind of, you know, do something, and instead of feeling like they're wasting a park day, you know?
Or I think the other side of that too is getting people to justify spending another day, because you know that there is actually a bit of mental gymnastics there that you can actually get people to spend an extra day because they go, well, I'm getting a free water park day, so you know, instead of it being a 6-day trip, it'll be a 7-day trip or something like that.
Yeah.
And also, I now that I think about it too, I also know you know, your daughter has been young enough too that, you know, going to the water parks hasn't been something as easy to justify. Like, for us, it was, when I was, even like when my wife and I were much younger, I said like, hey, or it wasn't me dragging my wife, but we both agreed like, let's go check out the water park. So like, I think the first time we went on our honeymoon, we did both of the water parks because we had not experienced either of them. At that point, River Country was close. It was just Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. And, but, I think the difference is, when we started coming with our son, he was at an age where we were like, we actually use the water parks as a bit of a wind down day. Like, so we've never, the funny thing about having the water parks as the first day of the trip, we would never actually make use of that. Even if it didn't, or the thing is like when we fly in, we're usually arriving at like 6 p.m. So like it would never work out for us to use the water park on our first arrival day anyway. But even if we were arriving sooner, we never use it as the first day. We actually use it like towards like the end, like Wednesday, Thursday, if we're there for a full week, that we use it as a means of breaking up because we've been running around the parks for days. The water parks are a little bit more slow paced, but it does still give the opportunity to go and, you can go and charge around and do all the slides, or you can just lay in the lazy river and, relax, which I know you could just have like a pool day at the resort, but the water parks also have like I said, having the slides and everything there is it's that like compromise of like, you're not just like taking a day off and doing nothing at the resort. Like you're still doing something, but you're not running full speed either. Right.
You're not like exerting yourself. Yeah. Like I could see us doing it sometime in the next couple of years, because my daughter does like the water park. So just likes water stuff in general. I think she'd love, like some water slides or, the wave pool or whatever. I think she would really, really dig that. So, and I like a lazy river. So
now my question is would she ever be able to get you to go on Summit Plummet?
No.
No, you'd never do Summit Plummet?
She's not going to do it. I mean,
Really? Well, I mean, you never know. My son was apprehensive about it at first, and then as he got a bit older, he was gung-ho for all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
probably not. But well, why don't we go ahead and do our ad, and we'll talk about a couple other things. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, this week's sponsor is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market, a key holder vacations company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2025, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their membership. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right, Trevor, I had to put this in here because...
Mm-hmm. It's a funny pun, and
what? Because what?
It's a funny pun for the title, and that's about it.
What do you mean? It's a funny pun for the title?
You missed the pun, really?
No. What's the pun? What's the pun?
Okay. For everyone wondering, the title is Disney teases over 2,000 bats in revamped Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Okay. All right. Revamped, whatever.
Come on, Tom. I'm going to take away your dad joke card if you can't pick up on that.
All right, whatever. No, so like this seems like a dumb thing to put in here, but I don't think it is. I think it's interesting. I think it's very. I didn't think about how intense it is to design like a scene at the beginning of the ride like that. Well, and also the fact, I think, listen, I love Big Thunder, and I think Big Thunder's awesome, but the bats in the beginning were always a little corny, right? Because you could see them on strings, right? They were just kind of and they were just spinning around, and like they just looked silly, kind of, right? And which I never minded. I never felt like it detracted from the ride or in any way, but as part of the refurb, they've added 2,000 bats now, Trevor. 2,000 bats. And they're not just the ones on strings. They like built them into the rockwork.
Yeah. So it creates the illusion of there is a giant bat cave in the back. Like you're going by a natural cave that, and like they said in the describing here, it looks like it goes on forever. Like it's a very cool effect, and very much like I said, you don't think about it, but like you go by the bat cave so quickly at the beginning of the ride.
Yeah.
But it really does set the tone for the ride if you're thinking about it, right?
Because
like
if you've never been on the ride before, you don't know that. And spoiler alert to those that haven't been on it, close your ears, that you start right off in the pitch black with a drop, like a small drop. Like you don't know, right?
Yeah.
From the outside, it's kind of a surprise, and so you're kind of like, whoa. And then all of a sudden you're in that bat cave, right?
Yeah, it goes through the bat cave and immediately transitions into the rainbow cavern, which like I said, that very much sets the tone of the ride. Is hey, you're in giant caves, natural caverns, and it like you said, the bats on the strings very much were. I was willing to overlook them. Like, I guess it's and actually even looking at it, there's still going to be some there, but they've just further amped up like the bats that you will see in there. So I think they won't stand out quite as much as being like feeling like a bad Halloween decoration. Cause that's really what it reminded me of before, was like, and I get like, when Big Thunder was initially built, it was like, hey, they were working with what they had at the time. And, bats and strings were, the only thing that they probably
really do with it.
Yeah. So, but like, and the thing is they're not taking away from it. So for anyone, wondering, like, it'll still have it there, but I think it's going to be blended in a lot more with, these larger groups of bats, and it'll definitely make an impression of like, oh, like this isn't a cave with a few bats in it. This is a bat cave.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly, one of the things I love about Big Thunder Mountain is the way it starts, because you are your brain is kind of trained with roller coasters that you leave the station and you go up a lift hill immediately, right? And like that's where you start, right? But when you get on
Disney ones don't do that. Now that I think about it, they
really don't. Yeah, they really don't. But it's so surprising, because Big Thunder, you really don't know where it starts, because you are underground, right? Like you climb up that little mountain and then you go down, and you assume if you've never been on it that you're going to go up a lift hill, which you do, but that's not really, there's that whole little part first where you go through that area, and it just is surprising, and I always think that's one of the cooler things about it. But the other thing too, I noticed in this video, Trevor, I don't know if you watched it, but I thought it was kind of cool. Just the Imagineering nerd in me is that they took a 3D scan of the entirety of the mountain in order to make these designs. Cause I guess they didn't have, which makes sense. Cause they probably, when they built it originally, they just made rock work, right? Like I'm sure this rock work is, they had details that there was needed to be rock work here and there, but probably not down to the detail, the minute details.
There was structural engineering of it and like concrete work and stuff, but there wasn't the level of planning, like you said, with a 3D scan. They can really like you said, cool. map out surfaces and all that, which they're definitely taking advantage. I think part of their disclosure was they realized there was an opportunity to actually scan the whole ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means that, going forward, like we said, this goes back to the whole thing of, seeing that Disney is getting better at doing prep work versus
record keeping and stuff.
It's honestly, it's a change in the methodology of Imagineering, if you think about it, because a lot of things in Imagineering, when you hear about the stories of how things were done, way back at the beginning and whatnot, it was like they were given a problem and they had to like solve it in the moment kind of thing, right? And it wasn't like we'll go back and do some work on the computer. It was like, no, they were like solving it live as they go. The difference is now is obviously we have a lot more, we have technology at our disposal and whatnot, and they're utilizing that now. So instead of them having to react to things, live, they can use the computer. They can go, hey, we have a 3D scan of this. We can build stuff, they can 3D model stuff. They can 3D print stuff and go, oh, we can build it all out off site. So, they don't have to disrupt the ride, but they can, they can have all this stuff figured out ahead of time. Right. So
it reminds me of an Imagineering story. There's one Imagineer that he's like, we're building this full this giant walking robot that's like the size of an elephant, and he's like this model is the only one. This is one of one. If this works, which it probably won't, it will be the only one that exists, because like that's just how they do it. Like they don't. Yeah. He's just building it to see if it's gonna work, and if it works, then great, and that's the one that's there. And then that's how they always did it. It was
that's why the Yeti is in the state it's in Everest, because they built it, didn't think about, there was some structural issues, and it was like, oh, well, that's it. Like this is the only one. Yeah.
Yeah. This is it's a one of one. There's no copies. Yeah. I mean, now listen, they are doing, if you're paying attention, I mean, I don't mean you, Trevor, I mean everybody out there, they're changing that up a little bit, because like they've been talking a lot about this lately. Like, for example, the Olaf robot, the free roaming one, that they 3D printed that, which means it's repeatable. They can just they could 3D print 100 of Olafs. They can have an Olaf army. That's kind of a shift for them, where 3D printing and some of these newer technologies have made it so they can do stuff like that. Whereas before it was just like, they just would cobble together whatever they could with whatever parts they had. And if it worked, cool, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's not fair to say they would just cobble stuff together. Like they were working with the technology they had at the time. And to be fair, a lot of they were doing a lot of experimental things, and
they still are. Yeah.
And I would argue that, the fact that they're using 3D printing now, I know that they're not like on the bleeding edge of it, but they are using it, the same way that, or I would argue that, if you put this technology in the hands of the original Imagineers back in the 1950s, or said like, hey, you have the ability to manufacture stuff, they would absolutely be doing it the same way that, Disney's doing it now. This would, it is very much a tool for giving them the ability to try and fail at stuff. But then the nice thing about it is, like you said, it's, the extra step of it is, it's not that somebody built it and had a flash of brilliance and, it never happens again. It's like, hey, now they can actually document it. And in 10 years when it breaks, well, we still have the plans. We can make another one. Right.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I mean, they have an entire lab that's just devoted to like doing experimental and, stuff and creating things. And that's how we end up with all these patents and some of the cooler stuff that you see in the park. So, I think I love this kind of stuff. And also, I just love Big Thunder. So it makes me happy that they're doing stuff. I'm excited to see what the new Big Thunder looks like. And I'm going to get my daughter on it no matter what. Like, that's happening.
Yeah, so much stuff coming so fast.
I know, it really is. So, it's not ride related, Trevor. There's a new but kind of old dining plan coming to the Disney dining plan. So I say that because, pre-pandemic, there were 3 options for the dining plan, right? There was, you had the quick service, you had the regular table service one, and then you had the deluxe one, right? Which was, the higher end one. And, the quick service was included, 2 quick service meals and drinks and snacks. And then table service was 1 table service per night. And then the deluxe was 2 table service per night. So that one is for like, if you want to eat at some of the really nice restaurants, those will cost you too. So right now though, they didn't have the deluxe. They didn't have the deluxe plan anymore. Right. So now we're going to have the deluxe plan back, but and they're renaming the other plans to the same thing.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it was so yeah. It's funny how they're saying, is formerly Disney dining plan, or the table service dining plan, formerly the Disney dining plan, and then the quick service was the Disney quick service dining plan. Like, it's
the same. It's exactly the same. They just barely changed it. Right?
Yeah. So all they've done is they've renamed it to table service dining plan, quick service dining plan, and deluxe Disney dining plan, which this, like you said, going back to pre-pandemic, this makes sense. This is, it's clear what it is. The breakdown of it, like you said, it's clear that, quick service is exactly that. You get 2 quick service meals, a snack, and a refillable mug. Table service, it's 1 quick service, 1 table service, snack, and a mug per day. The mug's not per day, the mug's per your stay. And then, the deluxe is 2 table service meals per day, 1 quick service, 1 snack. The funny thing is, like you said, initially when I was looking at the deluxe, I was like, there's no way I would ever use the deluxe, but I forgot about the fact that, like you said, there are some meals that take 2 credits. You could very easily make use of the deluxe. The thing for me is, if I was going to have a trip like that where I was like, I'm going to do table service every day. The funny thing is that I don't do table service every day. Like, it's the only thing about the dining plan is that I kind of sit between the table service and the quick service one. So there's not a plan that actually works for me. So
I get that. I get that. Yeah. We did you could also just do sit down lunches with the deluxe one though too. Like, there's a lot you can do with the deluxe one. It is a lot more expensive though. I mean, it just is, right? Like, but it is good for, like, you just want to do some of the signature restaurants, because the signature restaurants are 2, right? Those are 2 dining entitlements. So, it just depends.
Speaking of expense on here, I don't see pricing listed anywhere here.
Yeah, I don't really see it listed these days.
Yeah, because I was looking into this. So when we first started doing DVC, I was trying to do the math on, could I be justified in buying a dining plan with my, with having a DVC stay? And the problem is that when I did the math, it was technically I could do a dining plan, but it was under the assumption that every single day I was going to be if I was like eating way more than I think I would eat on a normal trip is what it came down to. And also part of that math too was I was looking at, like, my son was younger, and it was like he was at that age where we would have had, or I think it was like that 11 to 12 age where it's like they start, like, I think it's that, I can't remember if it's 10 or 12 where they start, the kids are considered adult prices.
Oh yeah.
And so it was hitting that point where it was like, okay, like, my kid is not going to eat anywhere near enough food to justify this. So it was like, it's like, I actually sat down and did the math, and it was like, it made way more sense to just pay out of pocket versus using the dining plan. But like I said, that was years ago. And the fact that, like you said, this is going back to how it was, pre-COVID, having more options for it. This is something that, I think, for anybody wondering, like, well, is this worth it? I mean, you really got to do the math, and you really got to figure out, like, are you actually, like, spending a bunch of time, or how many of your days are you actually doing table service versus quick service versus like those premium options too, right? Like, I feel like, with the, like you said, some of the signature restaurants and stuff, I feel like I could make it work, but the deluxe still seems insane to me. Like,
it's a lot. I mean, and so it's worth noting that, the deluxe, first of all, is not coming out until 2027. So it's not available this year. 2027.
Maybe that's why the pricing isn't out yet, because the
pricing is out actually. According to Disney Food Blog, the pricing will be $163 per adult per night for that, and then $46.85 per child per night for deluxe. Currently, for the regular Disney dining plan, so the quick service plan is $62 per adult per night and $25 per child per night. Which actually, $25 per child per night for a quick service is. That's pretty decent. Not bad.
Honestly, even for the adult, like,
it's not
thinking about quick services, that's not awful for the quick service.
Because also don't forget too that the dining plan, it's not just the food. You also get a snack every day. I mean, it's not just the meals. You get a snack every day, and then you also get the resort refillable mug, which is worth its weight in gold. Those are $20 or $30, but over the span of a stay, they are absolutely invaluable. But also too, you get when you do quick service, you get the entree or the combo meal, so you get a beverage. So it's the meal and the beverage, and then for the table service ones, you get entree and dessert. And that, so the standard one is currently running at $99.87 per adult per night and $31.94 per child per night. So, I mean, listen, we used to do the dining plan, right, all the time, and then one year I decided, okay, let's not do the dining plan. And I will add up at the end of this. I will do the work, as you said, Trevor, and I will add up all the money we spent on food while we were there out of pocket instead of doing the dining plan. And it turns out for us, we ended up spending a lot less on food than we would have if we had done the dining plan. So,
right. Yeah.
That's the thing. It depends on your situation,
Yeah. Like I said, that's exactly it, is that like I said, doing the math on it for anyone that's wondering, does the dining plan work for you? It's, you got to look at your own family and how I'm the funny thing is like when I'm at home, I'm very rigid on my meals. Like I make sure like I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm very consistent. When I'm traveling though, that does kind of go out the window. And part of it too is there is a time zone change for us. So it does kind of offset like when I would normally eat, but then also it's like, especially when you get into like the if we have like a table service. So like we made the mistake once of we did Garden Grill at Epcot, and then we went to Via Napoli in the same day. Bad idea. Because it was lunch at Garden Grill, which was like it's a family style, all you care to enjoy. So we ate probably way more than we should have, but I mean that's kind of what you do, right? If you're going to like a buffet or something, you eat way more than you should. But then we went to Via Napoli, and we grossly underestimated how big those pizzas actually are.
They're big. Yeah.
And so we were like, we were done. Like we were like, we cannot eat this, right? So yeah, like it's you have to kind of look at like I feel like the quick service seems like it could work, but I don't know about the table service. And also the other thing too is that, at the price point for the deluxe one, I feel like like I said, I feel like the deluxe one works into, if you had a plan where it was like, looking at like, going to Garden Grill and stuff like that's an expensive bill. Like, every time I go, like I know that it's going to be expensive, but then when they hand me the bill and it's like, oh, that was like a couple $100. Yeah. Like, it's like, okay. But again, like that's, if I was doing that every day, I could see justifying it, but I'm not doing that every day is the only thing. So.
Yeah, and to your point, so the buffets in general, any of like the all you care to enjoy, are usually one dining credit, and that's, to me, that's actually where you get a lot of the value. So, because I said before that some of the character ones, really the only character one that is two is
Cinderella's
Akershoosh and Cinderella.
Akershoosh. Okay,
yeah. Those are really the only two. The rest are just the signature restaurants like Be Our Guest, Le Cellier, Brown Derby, Tiffin's.
Sorry, Be Our Guest is a signature?
Yeah, these days, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it was closer to like a quick service than
it is technically casual. I think it's probably too just because of how popular it is, maybe.
That's fair.
To discourage people from going. That's the only thing I can really think of, because your point, it's not technically a signature restaurant, right? It doesn't fall under the signature banner. I mean, but the prices are signature level. I mean, if you just pay for it, it's pricey. I mean, it's not cheap.
Yeah, I've never actually gone there. I have no desire to go to Be Our Guest.
It's probably just more based on price, right? So it's because it's $72 per adult for Be Our Guest these days. So, Yeah, that's rough, man.
I'm good at Garden Grill. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. Garden Grill is my favorite. It's like, I know it's like in line with a lot of the other places, but it's my family's favorite because we have lots of great memories at it. And that it doesn't diminish from anybody else, any other place that you go that's your favorite, that's fine. I just always go to Garden Grill.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the other one too is Storybook Dining at Artist Point is awesome too. But again, that's a signature restaurant, right? So
right, and we did that was really good, and I can see like that is justified as a signature. So
yeah, absolutely. Like, listen, we did. It's interesting what because I feel like they've changed these. A little bit, but I remember when we went to Narcoossee's when we were on our honeymoon, and I think we had the meal plan, and my wife got surf and turf, which was on the menu at the time. I think it was like $105, and I was like, I'm glad we have the meal plan. It's 2 entitlements, right? But it was like, I think that the signature the deluxe one is good for like either if you want to go to all those nice restaurants at every night you want to go to a signature restaurant, great. Or if you want to do just a regular restaurant at night but also do sit down for breakfast or lunch every day. That's what I would think is your market for that, Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
listen,
anyway,
I think the dining plans are great. Honestly, I know the math doesn't work out for everybody. And they're doing free dining for kids this summer, for certain dates. I mean, that could be a good savings for a lot of people.
Yeah, we like I said, we're still very much in planning phases for we have our 25th anniversary coming up next year, and so we have been like, this is actually something that would weirdly be on the table for discussion, because I don't think I would do the dining plan like every other trip, but that feels like a trip, like you said, to that point of, hey, if there's a bunch of signature dining that we want to do, the deluxe one might actually make sense, which is kind of weird for me to say.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I think if we were going to do it again, we'd probably do the table service one, because our typical is we'll do a quick service during the day and we try to do, a table service most of the night. So like that really fits into most of our. I mean, like, listen, you can use one table service entitlement at Ohana or, any of the buffets, like really good. It's a pretty good value, when you look at the prices of those things. So, I don't know.
The challenge is like you said, if you're, I guess I find it hard. Like I book maybe 2 to 3 table service throughout a full week trip.
Yeah.
But if I was having to book them every day, the only, or I guess I shouldn't say it's a downside, but it's something to be factored in, is like, you also got to think about where you are. If I'm spending a day at Epcot, it's like, what table services am I doing there? What am I doing at, cause the only problem with table services is that kind of like fast passes, like how we've talked about how the old fast passes where you would book like a bunch of them 60 days out, is it's like you're kind of committing to, or like you have to do table service reservations ahead of time. Yeah. So you're committing to being in certain places at certain times. Which,
so you don't mind that. We really, to us, the table service is, part of it. We want to, like, it's part of the vacation.
Yeah,
we like doing that, so.
Absolutely. But that's where like I like to try and limit myself to like, I don't do like a table service every day, so that we have some flexibility that like we can, change parks or change what we're doing. So it's not like, well, yeah, I know we're going to Magic Kingdom, but we got to get over to Epcot because, we have a reservation at 4:00 or something. Right. Yeah. So
I understand.
I understand. Like I said, it's a lot to think about, but like I said, more options is not bad. And these don't seem, I know there's been a lot of things that have been commented on that, Disney is nickel and diming. This actually does feel like they're trying to undo some of that a little bit, because it is going back to, how they had it pre-pandemic. And like I said, it's honestly not, I still don't think it's like an easy win for like, yeah, I would do this again, just because of DVC. If that is part of a bigger package, yeah, maybe, but it's not bad that you know, they're expanding the different plans you can do, right? So
more options, more better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't have to use all the options, but I'm not mad that they're there.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. All right, so last but not least, Trevor, Star Wars stuff. There's some Star Wars stuff. So the much talked about changes to Galaxy's Edge's timeline are coming up here. And we're getting some more details here. So beginning on April 29th, you know, you're going to start seeing some different things going on over at Disneyland. Not Disney World yet, Disneyland.
It's so weird that they're only doing it at Disneyland.
I
don't get it. I honestly don't get it.
I mean, it's going to happen at Disney World. It's just for some reason they are doing this first at Disneyland. I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask this, because I'll be honest. I haven't, like, you know me, I've not been paying a ton of attention to Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff happening at Disneyland that, like, you know, they've done like these special events and stuff. Have any of them really come over to Disney World, or has Disney World's Galaxy's Edge been just kind of?
I think they're just doing different stuff, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. But they showed us here, though, we've got, you know, so Darth Vader, of course, you're going to have Darth Vader walking around, which, you know, I think everybody kind of wants. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's the original trilogy characters are all going to be out. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about this at length, so I don't want to get too into it, but yeah. So, you know, of like why it makes sense and everything, but then, you know, and how it really, I understand why they did what they did in the first place, but listen, people want to meet Darth Vader. They want him walking around. They want, you know, Luke Skywalker floating around. They want, you know, Leia and Han
Solo.
Yeah. Even though these two don't really look anything like them, but that's okay. They're going young. They're going real young.
I mean that's honestly the smart way to do it. They can say, well, this is pre trilogy Leia and Han Solo, and then the same way that they did the movies like Solo and stuff like that, right? It's, you know,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then Luke's going to be roaming around too, roam the outpost seeking knowledge of the Force and artifacts related to lightsaber building. Okay, so he's just going to be wandering around. And then Leia also might. It seems like they're going to be in kind of different places, like, you know, randomly around not randomly, but it says Leia is going to be spotted near the Millennium Falcon, which will recruit travelers. Then Han's also going to be there, and of course Chewie's going to be there. And then they're going to continue to have the Mandalorian and Grogu walking around, and Ahsoka, and also R2-D2 wandering around, but also still Rey. Like, so Rey's still going to be there too.
I mean, why not? Like, yeah. Like,
no, it's fine.
This is exactly what needed to happen. Like it, limiting themselves to the later trilogy, it was honestly the worst move they could have done.
Yeah,
like,
no, I get it. No, I would agree with you. I think it's smart, because like we talked about this. Do people really care about the timeline of the land? I don't think they do. I think they want to see Darth Vader. They want to see Han Solo. They don't really care.
It's honestly no different than seeing characters wandering around Fantasyland in Disneyland, because like you will see like the Mad Hatter and Peter Pan, and you're not going like, but that's not canon to, you know, once like
that.
Yeah. Like, come on, you're in a theme park. Just like, people just want to have a fun interaction with their favorite character. Yeah.
Be okay with it.
It's not that deep. Like,
it's not. Not. But listen, I understand why. There's probably some people out there that would get mad about it, but I think the majority of people don't care. They, like I said, they do when they want to see Luke Skywalker, they want to see Darth Vader. They, you know, all that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think these are good changes, but these are all, you know, starting to happen in the next few weeks here. And then
I hope that they do mirror this stuff more in Disney World, because I get sorry, I see all the stuff about Disneyland, and, you know, I love both parks and everything, but it feels weird when you have the same, like, they have the same area in Galaxy's Edge, and it just feels weird that they're like picking one over the other. Like they're playing favorites.
It is a little weird. I'll give you that. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Well, last but not least, Trevor, we do have we talked about this, the Star Wars Day merch, because it's we're counting down to then, and we missed one of the announcements while we were while I was gone. So actually, did we miss two? Wait, did we miss two? We might have missed two. So yeah. So what we got?
Yeah, there is a bunch of merch on.
There's
here.
a bunch. Yeah. So first thing though is they have Rebel Alliance and Imperial jerseys. They look like baseball jerseys. Not a fan of this one. Just not really my thing. They're fine.
They're all right. I mean, yeah, if you want a baseball jersey, they're fine. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
The thing I think is way cooler, Trevor, is this mystery box. The Spirit jersey. And we all know how I feel about Spirit jerseys. However, these are pretty cool because they are retro, poster concept art. It's a mystery box, so you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of awesome.
I mean, yes and no. I like. Okay, I would be mad if I got Revenge of the. if I got episode 3 and I actually so okay, looking at these, they are cool. But I have my favorites, and actually, my favorite is the Return of the Jedi one. The Return of the Jedi one is sweet, and I love that. I would be very sad if I bought a mystery box and I got episode 2 or episode 3.
That'd be great if you bought 3 of them to try to get 3 different ones, and you just got all episode 3.
Yeah. That's a weird thing. I get that they're mystery boxes are it scratches an itch for people because it's it has that air of mystery and excitement behind it. And you never it takes out the choice of having to decide on which one you want. But like I said, the problem is that not all of these shirts are created equal, and there are some that are better than others. And I mean, for the thing about mystery boxes is when they're small figurines, it's I can get a bad figurine and I'm whatever. When it's a shirt or something,
what are you going to do with a shirt that you're not going to wear?
Yeah, exactly. If I get the one that I'm not going to wear, it's am I just handing it to the first kid I see and walking away?
Also, I'm going to make a bet right now, Trevor, that once the whole event is done, a month later, they will sell these individually, right?
Oh, probably. Yeah,
they're going to sell these individually. Please, they're going to sell. They're very cool. I love the retroness of them. I like the actual retro kind of poster look, and the way they kind of put it together is really, really neat.
Yeah, I'm a fan. They remind me of the old the VHS tapes of the when you would buy the VHSs of the original shows and stuff. So
even the box is very very retro. The box that it comes in is it's got that look. This is cool. I like this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I will say though that's not my favorite thing on this list though.
Ooh, okay.
Because so further down, or actually, first of all, I should do a shout out to, I do actually like this Commander Pyre figurine they have, which is the gold Stormtrooper. Yeah.
I think that's Star Wars Resistance, right? So
yes,
and you liked that show.
Yeah, I do like that, but the Endor collection is hitting a certain way for me.
Let me get to the Endor collection. Ooh, okay.
The Endor collection is a vibe, I will say. It's not overstated. It's not it's nice and it fits obviously that woodsy theme of Endor, redwoods. I like the mug actually, or not the mug, the tumbler with the Ewoks on it that's so cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. The Endor stuff is I mean, I think it's a matter of just when I grew up, Return of the Jedi was, Ewoks were in there, and there was also those other, there was those Ewok movies that came out.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I was in that sweet spot of growing up where Endor, and there was also the animated show too. There's the Ewoks animated show. So it was Ewoks were very much a thing for me growing up. So seeing the Endor stuff, I'm of all the Star Wars stuff, I'm not, it's kind of a weird thing. I think it's just that it's hitting a nostalgia point for me that it's like, yeah, I like that stuff. I liked the Ewoks. I liked the whole idea of, the third moon of Endor and, this whole civilization living on there and everything.
These little furry things.
Yeah. Which apparently were based on George Lucas's dog was the,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He had, or I think he said he had a Shih Tzu, which if you bring up a picture of a Shih Tzu, you can see where the inspiration for the Ewoks would have come from.
By the way, I want to throw out. Well, first of all, I know you wouldn't buy this because it's not really something that's our style, but the little mini backpack is pretty cool too. With
yeah. It's the same. It's the same design as the tumbler, so it has the Ewoks walking across the bridge on it. Which, again, very very cool. And actually, I think it's even in the looking at the baseball jersey. It's that same picture, but it's like it's done into the lettering of Endor.
Yeah. What I was going to say, Trevor, I don't know if I've recommended this to you or to the show before, but there on Disney Plus there is a Industrial Light and Magic docuseries that is really, really good and just really, really cool. Like if you're really into like Star Wars, like they really show you how they do so many of the effects and how they like figured out how to do all the modeling and all the, it's really a really, really neat docuseries. I think you'd really like it because it's like a behind the scenes kind of thing of ILM and also just you realize that like George Lucas like basically invented so much technology that is used in movie making, not invented but like pushed along, to get that stuff done and made theaters upgrade equipment and stuff like there's so many interesting things that he was just like, I want to edit video. I want to edit movies digitally. Let's just invent the technology to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's just do that, but it's really, really good. And I think it's really, you learn a lot of interesting things about how they made Star Wars and I feel like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't, I know the docuseries you're talking about. I haven't watched it, but the weird thing is I've seen a lot of like over time, there have been like little things on TV and, like behind the scenes stuff. So I feel like I know some of it, but yeah, you're right. There's probably a lot more to it that I'm realizing. I know even like, cause even like THX was,
THX
that was like his brainchild as well. Like you said, to the point of like how he was pushing like the theaters to upgrade and stuff was so that he could, build out these movies and stuff and really like have it hit the way he wants in the theater.
Well, yeah, so, there was a part in it where he was like, and I forget the exact thing, but he wanted to use digital, and at the time they were only really using digital like movie type cameras for like television, but they record at a different frame rate than movies, and so he just like called up whoever the manufacturer was and was like, I want to use these cameras, but I want you to make them so that they can work for movies, and they were like, okay. Like, and that's basically like how it happened. Like he just kind of forced the company to not force, but used his power. See, there's punch. He pushed them into doing it, and it's just, that kind of stuff is really cool to me.
I'm imagining him doing the Jedi hand wave. You will build your cameras for this. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, sure. It was like you
didn't even have to do the hand wave. I would have done it anyway. But
there was an article about this recently where Christopher Nolan, who I love Christopher Nolan's movies, wanted to do his next movie all in IMAX. But he said the IMAX cameras are cumbersome and heavy and loud, and so he called up IMAX and he's like, "Hey, make better cameras." And they were like, "Okay." Like, just like, can you imagine that? Just like calling up and be like, I have so much clout that I could just like call them up and be like, your cameras stink, make better ones. And then they're like, okay, we will.
Honestly, I don't think we really appreciate the fact that a lot of the reason that we have the things we do is because somebody comes from a place of, this sucks, I wish that this was better, and somebody else goes, all right, I have an idea, right?
Like that, make it better.
It's. But it kind of goes back to, we're talking earlier about Imagineering and all that, is like, that's really how that all works, is that, it's not that somebody like, suddenly gets like divine knowledge blessed upon them and they're like, I'm going to make this thing. It's more so like, hey, I don't like this or this. I wish this happened this way. And then somebody goes, I think I can make that work. And then, that's why you have all this stuff you have around like movies. And like I said, I get, appreciating the behind the scenes of like,
I love that stuff.
Like George Lucas. Yeah. He definitely paved a lot of stuff that we take for granted nowadays because, we're so used to it, but
just the way they did so much though. And like the whole scene where they're flying through the trench in the in the Death Star, right? Like they did that in the parking lot. Like, and they show them doing it in the parking lot. And I mean, there's one scene that was in the, the original version of Star Wars where they digital up all the, effects and everything. That was literally a Polaroid that they took, they took a Polaroid of the model and then did some stuff to the Polaroid. And I'm just like, that's nuts that they did. Or like one of the asteroids is a potato that they painted.
Yeah.
I mean,
one that so not not Star Wars specific, but I saw this actually. I saw a clip of this, and I didn't even think about this. Is like, in shows like Ghostbusters and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when they have like when the clouds like start expanding out, like so like in Ghostbusters when the portal opens up and you see like the clouds expanding over New York. The way that they did that was they put, I believe it was a mixture of water and vinegar and I think soap into a fish tank. And then they take a syringe and they shoot milk into it. And and the milk clouds out that way. And so they film that and then they overlay it into whatever they want, which again is like, it's stupid when you hear it described as like, oh, this like big looming cloud. Yeah, that's just milk. Like,
well, that's this one guy at ILM was like, he was like, I was looking at the asteroids and he's like, I bet I could put a potato in there and you wouldn't even know. And then he was like, all right, let's do it. It's
a potato.
They get a potato and they paint it just to see if anyone would notice that it's a potato. Like,
But I mean, like,
I love
it looks like a rock.
Yeah.
Like it's
exactly. Well, of course. Yeah, it works. Listen, as long as it works, that's all that really matters. But that's what's fascinating to me about this stuff is just, how they it was like, how are we going to do this? And they just figure it out.
It's that lateral thinking of like looking at things in a different angle is how you get a lot of this stuff happening.
Yeah. It's a really, really, really neat just look into that. So, and also don't forget, Pixar started in Industrial Light and Magic. Entire Pixar would not exist if it wasn't for ILM, right? That was Pixar was a division of ILM, and that's where they started with computer animation and stuff. And so,
so make sure you thank your local Ewok.
There you go. Exactly. All right. On that note, Trevor, why don't we wrap up and finish this on that note, thank your local Ewok.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't thank the Phoenicians. We thank the Ewoks.
Ewoks, yes.
Anyway. So, that was a weird random thing. But if you have weird random things that you want to share with us, you can always email them to us. So you can find us at welcomeonpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us through our website, which is welcomeonpodcast.co. You can just go to the contact us part and send us an email. Like I said, we love hearing from you guys, hearing your own adventures, things that you're doing at Disney. If you got questions, all that kind of stuff, you can always send them to us that way. You can also find us on social media. So you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. And if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.co. You can check out our different merch there. If there's something that you would like to see in our store, you can, again, send us an email and let us know. We can add more stuff to the store. But we think we got a good selection of stuff out there. And also, hey, if you guys are wearing merch in the park, we love seeing pics of that. I know, we've seen people share stuff on Discord and in Facebook and stuff. Love seeing you guys enjoying the merch and, wearing it in the parks and stuff like that. So, if you do pick something up, send us a pic of it.
Please.
Also, if you want to help support us through Patreon, you can find us on patreon.com/welcomehomepod. Patreon supporters get all the merch on there is exclusive to Patreon. So depending on your level of Patreon support, you get different merch, and it has an exclusive logo that you don't get anywhere else. And all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, which, like I said, is another place that we talk about things from the show. You get a little bit more behind the scenes sometimes when we're planning stuff. The Discord listeners they'll get previews and just that next level of interaction. So if you're interested in that, please check out our Patreon. And last but not least,
like my feelings about the music on board the Disney Fantasy.
Yes, yeah. Tom realized that the song selections on the Fantasy were interesting. Which I did see that, and yeah, you make a good point that they missed the point of the song.
I'm just I'll tell everyone but it was bothering me because the Phil Collins song "Another Day in Paradise," it's a great song, right?
Yeah,
I really love it, fantastic song. But we were at one of the islands, and they were playing like an islandy version of it. It wasn't like Phil, it was like a cover of it, and I'm like, guys, this song is not about being on an island. Like, this is not about being in paradise.
It was meant to be sarcastic, and
yes,
just because paradise is in the name doesn't mean it's about paradise. Yes,
I'm like, somebody should realize what the song's about and maybe not play it. But it was like an islandy version, so like it was like, okay, well, maybe the song isn't as depressing as it actually is. But anyway, it just bothered me every time I heard it. I was like, this is not what the song is about.
Anyway. so yeah, like I said, if you're on Discord, you catch little rants like that from Tom
exactly.
and
at 11 o'clock at night.
Exactly. So yeah, check us out there. And then last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere you can leave us a 5-star review, please do so. It just helps more people find the show. And on iTunes, you can write us a review and let us know what you think about the show. We love reading that as well. And, just hearing what you guys think about what we're doing.
Yeah, please do that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Spotify, YouTube Music, any podcast app that's out there. I can't list them all because there's like hundreds of them. It's crazy. But
that'd be a whole other podcast episode, just listing podcast episode. Listing podcasts.
I could do it like, those commercials where they do like they do the really fast like talking for like the like the terms, like they just like speed it up so fast. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there's podcast apps anywhere. We're on all of them. If we're not, email us and be like, hey, where are you guys? And we will be on there. Okay. So huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC Resale Market and Keyholder Vacations, for being our sponsor and being our friends and being with us for a long time now. They are very cool to us. So please check them out for any of your DVC needs. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a house when we had a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I look around for fold of hope, found her in her sugar bowl.